Hello, everybody. Hello. Give me just a second. Let me just make sure stuff is working here. Say hello if you're here. Let me know in the chats that you're here. Oh my God, it's been so long here, hasn't it? All right. Let's get this up and let's get this up. Let's get that going. All right. How is everybody? I feel like it has been a lifetime since I have sat in this chair. And honestly, I don't know if I'm the best at making decisions right now because doing this live stream probably wasn't a good decision. I feel like I am like coming down, coming down from like a month-long high. I had the book launch, I had my birthday, I had this trip, I had just so much going on, and I feel a little bit emotional. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I just posted the compilation video. I had a lot of fun putting these videos together, more so for myself than anything, just as a nice, fun memory of everything that I've experienced. And I posted it on YouTube here, and as I was watching it back, I was starting to get choked up at realizing the enormity of everything that I've seen and felt and experienced and everything that I did. While I was away, I felt like I was walking through a dream. It felt like a dream. And it went by like that. It was like a snap of a finger. And it went by like it wasn't enough time at the same time. And the things that I experienced, I cannot even describe. I cannot even describe, but I'm trying because I journaled my way through it. And I'm beginning to post those journal entries over on the blog. I've posted the first 3 days that I was there on the blog. And I'm going to post the fourth day, which was massive tonight after this live stream. So if you guys want to hear all about the wild experiences that I've had and the amazing experiences I've had, when I say wild, I mean amazing, check out the blog. I'm going to be talking about this trip for a while to come. And if it feels like I've been talking about it a lot while I was away and while I was here, and if it feels like it's been kind of like going on and on about how it's blowing me away, is because the experiences that I've had are blowing me away. And I don't quite know how to articulate it. And so I'm doing that through writing. And those experiences are going to have amazing repercussions and it's going to continue to unfold. And what I was told is that it's going to be pieces of a puzzle that are continuing to unfold. So I am going to be talking about it and channeling more around everything that I experienced in the days, weeks, and months to come. But I am taking things a little bit slower now that I've come home. I'm going to have some announcements in a minute. I just want to say hi to everybody first, just to kind of give you guys a update on where we're going to be going and how things are going to be shifting and all that stuff. I thought, if there was any way to get back into the swing of things, it would be a live stream. So I spent all day in my pajamas. I'm a little bit tired. I'm in my pajama shorts, but I thought if there was any way to kind of get back into all of this, it was to do a live stream and connect with you guys. And I've really missed you guys. So let me see who's on. Natalie and Mel and Ashley and Nix and Aisha and Kate and Ellen and Francis. I'm so glad to see all of you. Thank you. Um, Ashley, I'm glowing. I don't know if I'm glowing from the trip or if I'm glowing from need to sleep all day. But thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm not gonna well, I don't know what this live stream is going to be. I do want to do a channeling for the week to come, the week ahead. Let me get into the housekeeping first and have some announcements so you guys know what to expect now that I'm back. And then we'll just start with that. So the video compilation is available on the channel. I'm really excited because I feel like it's a really nice way to kind of encompass everything that was my journey. And it was a lot of fun to put it all to music and to have those videos and everything. Hey, Michelle. So that was a lot of fun. So you can check that out, as well as the originals on Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff. Okay, so I want to let you guys know what's to come. Again, because I am still kind of acclimating myself back into this, what I realized is that travel is stressful. As joyful as it was, and especially because it was very different from my last experience of international travel, which was, I can't even go into that. That was just crazy. Um, this was a really great experience. It felt so completely divinely guided. I can't even tell you guys what we were manifesting. And we manifested sunshine the whole way. I was teasing with my friend that I was going to bring the sunshine because it was raining in England for the past month. And lo and behold, the sunshine. And it was like 90 degrees in France. And then when I left England, it started to rain there. So I was teasing with her that we had perfect weather. The travel was so smooth. It was just such a joyous, joyful experience. And it just, like I said, I'm still kind of grappling with the emotions and the enormity of it all. Not only that, but because of the fact that this had been a big 2 months, and my excitement levels and my joy levels, my happiness levels are, like, at an all-time high, and, usually when that happens, there tends to be a crash, but I realized there's no crash. There's no coming down from this. This is, like, this is it. Like, this is what I want my life to be, and, the emotions that I'm grappling with is just the enormity of everything that I experienced and the absolute love and gratitude that I have in my heart for those experiences. When I say that I'm grateful for everything, I mean it from the very core of my being. I am so grateful for every connection that I made. And I talked to everybody. So I made a lot of connections. Um, just in passing, when I say that the things I experienced as far as phenomena and visions and downloads, it was a crazy experience. And you can read all about that on the blog as well. But I'm still coming down from that because travel can still be stressful. And I feel like, especially with everything, the book, my birthday, the trip, everything of the past month, it's still kind of like a high cortisol kind of energy. So I'm trying to rest and take care of my nervous system and just kind of come down from that and calm everything and just really balance out myself right now. And so I am allowing myself just to go slowly into opening back up to collective readings and readings as a whole. So that being said, for bookings, for the rest of October, bookings are only going to be open to Patreon members, and I have only a select few. That's again so I can balance my own energy and my own schedule and stuff and kind of go back into it. But starting in November, I anticipate opening up to a full spectrum of readings and offerings, including readings, the Divine Partnership reading, the Ascension, um, intuitive reading, like the big readings I used to do. If you guys remember those, energy check-ins, as well as a smaller reading still available, coaching packages, stuff like that, the healings. I'm hoping to open up to all of that in November. I'm going to take it slowly. We're going to do it trial and error. Energy work is really hard work. Um, I don't think I realized how burned out I was over doing this for 6 years until my trip, and where I just really didn't work at all. It's hard work because you're dealing with other people's energy. You're dealing with your own energy, your own journey, your own life, and trying to balance everything out. So we're going to trial and error this, but I'm anticipating opening up for everybody in November. But at the very least, if you want to ensure a booking, you can join the Patreon. Exciting updates were rolled out while I was away for the Patreon, including community chats, and that's really cool. So if you have Patreon on your mobile device, then you have access to the community chats. I set up two. We have one for the general Patreon. So if you're in the spiritual connections tier and the ascension connections tier, you can connect with each other through that and just start talking and enjoy and talk about your journey and talk about, whatever it is that you want to talk about. That's a forum that is used for you. And hopefully the chat scenario will kind of make it easier to connect with each other and build that connection and build that community. For the Ascension Connections tier, you have a separate chat as well to kind of keep it contained to the Ascension Connections group as more of a sacred space for you guys as well. So there are two community chats that are available. It's really exciting. I tested it out. It's really cool. And I'll be part of that as well, in and out of that. So enjoy that if you're a Patreon member. Um, I mentioned the blog. The blog is coming back because I want to get back into writing. Writing is always my passion. And so I'm using the blog as kind of a sacred space to write more lengthier posts and share my channelings and journey and stuff like that. So the blog is coming back, and you can now check out the first couple of days of my trip over there, going into depth about that. And check out the blog post tonight, because I'm going to be referring to the blog post that I'm posting tonight in channelings to come. It was insane. Insane. I don't have any words for it. You just have to check it out, and trust me and check it out. Coming up this week, I have not wanted to channel. I have not cared. I have been so anchored in and present with myself, and just, I don't know how to explain it. However, I have had a lot of experiences with the twin flame energy, with the sacred partnership energy. Um, that was definitely coming through while I was away, and I was receiving a lot of downloads on that. So I have not wanted to do any of that channeling, but we will check in on the energies coming up. However, I am looking to kind of shift my focus just a little bit more towards the ascension aspect. um, I'm really getting called towards more of the Susan Dawn Ascension Connections sacred channeling. So if you follow me on my sister channel, Susan Dawn Ascension Connections, you know that we really do the deep dives with the channelings over there. And I feel like we're going to be shifting to that for the time being. That's still part of Sacred Unions. I still channel about twin flames and sacred partners over there, but it's more of that deeper dive. And remember, sacred partners, twin flames, all that stuff is a path of your ascension journey. The relationship is not the be all end all, even though sometimes it can feel like that, especially if you're in that one phase of your journey. But it's about your connection to yourself. It's about your connection to the universe. It's about your connection to God, source, whatever you call it. It's about your connection to your own spiritual truth. And so we're going to continue to explore that. I experienced Merlin on my trip. Of course, I was in Glastonbury. I experienced Archangel Jophiel, which I'd never experienced before. But she started coming through, and I had an experience with Mother Mary that, again, I'll share forward on the blog in the days to come as well. So there is a lot that I want to be diving deeper into for my own understanding and my own journey. And of course, I want to share that with you guys. So we're going to be making a little bit of a pivot. The Sacred Union stuff will still be there, but I want to go and dive a little bit deeper into the general ascension. So I just want to get you guys up to date as far as what you can expect. Okay, so any questions on any of that? I'm going to pause for a minute. And in the meantime, you can let me know, how are you guys doing with this eclipse energy? How are you doing? How are you doing? I haven't seen you guys for 2 weeks. How are you doing? And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now, and I'll be happy to answer them about anything that we just discussed. What's interesting to me is the timing of my trip, because when I got to Bath, where I was staying for the first week, we had a super full moon. And now when I'm coming home, we have an eclipse, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in between then. So everything feels like there was some divine purpose for it. The way the universe works, the way God works, I am not surprised. But definitely feeling more attuned to the eclipse energy now that I'm here and home. I feel, I don't know how I feel. I feel like I'm just kind of emotional because of, again, just the enormity of the trip and everything I experienced. But I know this eclipse was a big one. So let me know how you guys are doing. How are you guys feeling with it? Do I feel like I was picking up on a past life while on the trip? Yes. And tonight's posting on the blog, I will explain all of that, because I was with two of my soul sisters who both live in England, and one I was traveling with. And we ended up being in Glastonbury together, and it was huge. It was, I can't even explain it. It was huge. We definitely had some shared experiences of past lifetimes coming through. And It was very strange because throughout the whole trip, I felt like I was kind of straddling the past and the future, but not in an ungrounded way. My whole trip felt very grounded, it felt very present, and it felt very anchored in. Um, I don't think I'm going to understand the enormity of everything I experienced or how it's changed me or is changing me for a while now. I feel like things are going to still be revealed and unfold. But yeah, it was it was huge. Been emotional, especially today. Yeah, today I'm feeling it. I wasn't so connected. I feel like spirit kind of needed me to disconnect for my trip so I can be really present with myself. But I'm definitely feeling some emotions today. I still don't quite feel connected to the collective yet, to the collective energies. We're going to do a little bit of a reading here tonight just to kind of get back into it and see if I can pick up on anything. But I do feel emotional within myself, definitely. Definitely. Thanks, Aisha. Thank you. Yeah, and you guys, the journey, me going to Europe was something. Travel's so important to me. Europe is so important to me. Those are my dreams. But you don't have to go to Europe to have these same experiences. For me, that's just what it was. That was the dream. That's where I was called to. For you, you might be called to similar experiences at home, in relationships and connections. You might be called to, write a book. You might be called to get up on the stage and do something out of your comfort zone and different that changes the course of your life and has you having experiences. You might be called to changing your career or shifting your job or whatever this is. Apply it to your own life as well. For me, it was the travel that was the catalyst, and travel has always been a catalyst for me. But this is you can have those experiences too, and you are having those experiences too. So don't discount your own experiences. Okay, if I feel a little bit like today, it's because I am. It's like, holy shit. We were constantly doing stuff and constantly seeing stuff. My friend was joking that she never wants to see another church. Um, it was a lot. And so I'm a little bit, if I feel a little bit flat, it's just because I'm so tired in a good way, but so tired. I did so much walking. I did um so much talking. There was so much. But it feels awesome. Ooh, Francis, a new man. Wow, Francis, that's exciting. That's exciting. Trust your heart. Trust your heart, trust your intuition, trust yourself. As far as wherever that takes you. I'm very, very happy for you. I'm very excited. I hope it's a good thing. You've had a lot of anxiety. You're feeling better, but a little tired. I feel like this eclipse season, I mean, it's just starting now, the eclipse season, but this eclipse was a big one, especially when it comes to the energy of Libra, relationships, connection. And remember, it's not just about relationships and connections with others, but especially the relationship and connection with yourself. So if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling demotivated, is another word that I'm getting. If you're feeling emotional, keep connecting back to yourself. Keep connecting back to the core of yourself. Tune into the heart space. Um, that's where your first connection should really be. So you can keep clearing that energy and keep grounding that energy within yourself. Um, when I say grounding the energy, I mean like clearing the energy and grounding and being present and connecting with yourself. Yeah. All right. I have no idea what's been happening with the collective energy, with counterparts. I have been just kind of hands off with that. So I feel like let's just do a little bit of a reading and see if I can. um, Aisha, you had an Akashic reading that told you there was a different masculine energy in your field other than your twin and threw me through a loop. Still processing. Yeah. Um, so I had a lot of experiences when I was away with regards to the masculine presence, and that's why I wanted to post the blog tonight. because it feels really important. When I was traveling on my way to London, my first stop, I was on the plane and I was really connecting with the masculine energy. And it wasn't a person, and it wasn't the person that I had attributed that to, even though like I'll still call him my twin because he was that catalyst for me. It was an energy. And it felt like he was just with me, that masculine presence was with me. And then I had experiences with the masculine energy in Glastonbury that blew me away. Again, it was an energy. It wasn't attached to a specific person. That is open, or I should say the concept of that for me remains open. I'll still believe that my person was the person I have called my counterpart and have called my twin is that catalyst and was that twin for me. Whether he continues to remain so, it's open. It's up in the air. Like I just don't attach a label to it anymore or to him anymore. Um, but the energy, allow yourself to receive the masculine energy without trying to project that or reflect that onto a physical person. And you're going to feel that anchor in, that masculine energy anchor in more within you. And once you do that, you will allow yourself to open up to that physical relationship, whoever that is meant for you, whoever that will be. That for some, we've been saying for a while now, for some, that might be the original person, the original counterpart. For some, it might be another person, but allow yourself to process any emotions that might still be holding on to attachment and any fears that might still come through with letting go. And by the way, I realized something today that for the longest time, I had a fear of letting go because I didn't recognize letting go as a process. I thought that letting go was like a once and done thing. I thought that letting go was like, oh, never again, or oh, like, almost like it's cutting off a part of yourself. You don't fragment yourself when you're letting go. You just allow yourself to kind of let it be. So rather than phrasing it as letting it go, you're moving more into an energy of flow and moving more into an energy of letting it be. So allow yourself to go through whatever stages and phases that you need to process that, but allow yourself to open up to other energies or other potentials. Because what you're doing, you're on a sacred union path no matter what, because you were catalyzed to that path. So allow yourself to open up to the energy of the masculine, the conscious masculine, the sacred masculine is what they brought to me. But don't affix that to a specific person, because when you affix that to a specific person, that's actually what holds you back, and it will reveal itself. The other thing that they're saying to me right now is remember that there are different phases of this journey. And so you needed to go through, we've been talking about this on my channel for a while. Remember, I do it as like um, two circles, which is interesting. And you'll see why in the blog. It's the Vesica Pisces. It's two circles. I don't know where my pen went. I've been channeling this for maybe a year now. It's two circles like this. This is the Vesica Pisces. This is one phase of your journey. This is where you're moving into, which is the higher heart ascension. So it's like what's happening is here is where you have all that old energy of attachment and fear of letting go and kind of fixating on that person. It's that obsession phase that we all go through. Be compassionate for yourself. You've heard me say that for the past couple of months. Be very compassionate for yourself for where you were on your journey and maybe even the old programs that you acted out of, because you don't know what you don't know. You were acting out of old programs. But through your ascension journey, you've raised your consciousness, you've raised your awareness, you're more aware of yourself. And that's where you move through this phase and into the higher heart, into the higher level of consciousness, into your higher frequency. And so sometimes the person that was here maybe was a catalyst for this part of your journey, but this is somebody who is really going to match that. So allow yourself to work through the process. And sometimes it's going to be the same person and sometimes it's going to be somebody else. But no matter what, you're on the sacred union path for a reason. And so that person, whoever that person is, I'm not saying that person, the person, but whoever that person is going to match you in your frequency. It's going to be uplifting. It's going to be protector. It's going to be secure. It's going to be stable. It's going to feel good to your nervous system. It's going to feel very loving. You'll know. Let's just put it that you'll know by that connection. You'll know by how it feels. Okay, let me catch up here. This new man is such a good match for me. Is that the one that we had talked about? That you had mentioned the last time that we spoke? Because if so, that's exciting. This new person energetically fits what I'm feeling. That's amazing. It feels very much like the channeling about that you did about being on the same path as someone, you're walking down your path and they're on the same path. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're just walking on your path. And I used to think it was like this. I used to think that it was like, you're walking here and they're walking here and then you converge. And it's like, Spirit was like, yeah, kind of. But what's really happening is you're walking your path, not worried about anybody else on their path. You're walking your path and they're on the same path. Like they're literally coming towards you on the same path. And that's where you converge. You converge like in the middle here on the same path. It's not two separate paths, although it might look like that. But with the sacred union, sacred partner connection, you're on the same path. You've always been on the same path. Yeah, letting go, that used to scare me. It used to scare me because it was like, well, what happens if I let go? Well, what happens is everything opens up. You're not necessarily letting go as in there are always endings and conclusions. Now, let me put it like this. There are always endings and conclusions, but not in the way that our other mind, our unconscious mind fears. It's in the way that endings always beget new beginnings. There's always beginnings that come from endings. And so letting go just allows for the past to be completed so that the new can come through. And energetically, that could be anything, really anything. And so that's where we have to allow ourselves to open up to that possibility. I'm reminded of, well, I'm reminded of my ex who was so affixed to this is what my mission is, this is what my purpose is. And then I kind of came into his life, and I feel like I kind of rocked the boat on that. But I allowed myself to be open, and I feel like he was really like, no, this is my purpose, this is my mission. And maybe it was, maybe he knew that that's what it was. But things kept kind of evolving and things kept kind of happening for us, and I just kept being open and going with the flow, and things kept kind of shifting. And it's like that. It's like allow your life to change. Allow yourself to be open. Allow yourself to go with the flow. Because when you're in that resistance and when you're in that stubborn energy, when you're in that pride, that's when it's like this. It's like you're holding on so tightly. But what are you holding on to? You're holding on to what you think it should be when your soul is actually trying to guide you in a different direction. Now, I use that just an example. Obviously some things don't work out, but that's when you just allow yourself to be redirected to. I was having trouble letting go because my intuition kept feeling my twin. I was so confused. Yeah. And I think that's what is confusing is because we do feel the masculine energy. We feel the masculine energy and we do apply that to a specific person because that specific person will initiate that or be a catalyst for that journey. And in some ways, maybe that person is that actual person, is that twin. But you have to let go of the expectation of that and just allow yourself to see where it goes and see how it flows, and also make sure that you're trusting your intuition and having those boundaries for yourself, and make sure that you're honoring yourself. What I received when I was away was the most important thing is to love and honor yourself, because the masculine presence feels stable, feels present, and feels so incredibly protective of the divine feminine. um when you guys read that blog, I don't want to talk about it now because I wrote it all out and I don't think I can do it justice tonight. Um, but I was having an experience in a very masculine, present energy, energetically masculine place. And I felt the sacred masculine come in, and it was so loving and so protective. And it's overwhelming to me right now. I want to cry because I've never felt anything like that in my life. Um, that sacredness, that feeling of being held, and not just physically held, but energetically held, emotionally held. Um, the feeling of that came through in visions, that came through in within me energetically. it was overwhelming, but it also felt so familiar. And so I feel like if we're on this path, we have always known that there's that kind of love, that kind of conscious love. Um, and I think that that's where we're being led. So I don't know if that makes sense. I want to share all of this, but I don't want to go too deep because I just don't know how. I wrote it all out on the blog. It'll go up after this live stream. Good. I'm glad that was helpful, Aisha. Hi, Amber. You think that was a push for you to want more for yourself, expand higher, open up to the highest aligned energy, redirecting focus to yourself, your path, your happiness. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, letting go, letting it be can be one of the hardest things ever because you feel like in some ways you're disappointing yourself. You feel like in some ways you're letting down yourself, or maybe you're the person. Um, but you have to love yourself enough. You have to honor yourself enough. And by loving yourself and honoring yourself, you're actually loving and honoring the other person. You really are. And it might not feel that way because we've been so conditioned to people please or overgive or sacrifice ourselves. And it might look like it's the hardest decision you've ever had. It might feel sometimes like an impossible decision, but you have to love and honor yourself. That is the best thing that you can do for yourself. And that's the best thing that you can do for your counterpart or your partner. And they might not understand it at the time, but their soul does. Their soul does. And as they move out of ego and they move out of that stubbornness and that their pride, they'll see things from the soul's perspective and they'll understand as well. Maybe not on well, it depends on their level of consciousness, but they'll understand it as well. And that's where forgiveness and understanding comes into play. Culminating with the eclipse. Well, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to do it. Hey, Paula. Now's the time. What are you doing, mister? Get off my feet. Okay, what do you guys say to a little bit of a channeling? I mean, we're already doing a little bit of that, but let's do a little bit. So I spent the past 2 weeks with my good friend Luna Marie. She's the creator of this Rise of the Warrior Oracle that I have used continuously. I love this deck. Love her. I met her, she was a client, and then she turned into a friend and soul sister, and she was the one who encouraged me and said, Susan, you're turning 40, now is the time to go on this trip, and I'll go with you. And let me tell you, it was amazing. She was amazing. Spiritual Warrior UK. You guys check her out and make sure that you follow her. It was a trip of a lifetime, truly. Really beautiful trip. Definitely sisterhood experience there. I know she was the person that I was meant to experience that with. And it's funny how divinely guided and how everything fell into place, how everything felt so divinely guided. Okay, so let's I don't think I want to channel for specifically masculine or feminine. Let's just get some general energies and see what it is that we need to know. Because I haven't done this in a while. I even brought a tarot deck with me. If you guys saw it, that got flagged at security at the airport on my way home, which I thought was hilarious because the guys at the airport were joking with me and talking with me about tarot and spirituality. So that was funny. And I also bought this French deck in Carcassonne when I was there. This was my last purchase on the last day in Carcassonne. I spotted this and ended up getting that. But I have barely touched my tarot deck. I was already getting so much energy and already getting so many insights and downloads. And remember, tarot is just a tool. Okay, so let's see. Ooh, that's too many. What do we need to know? What do we need to know right now for our journeys collectively, please? Oh, okay. This is interesting. we have an interesting polarity here, an interesting dynamic. It was funny. So I packed my luggage expertly. I was so proud of myself because I only wanted to bring carry-on. So I had my backpack and I had a little luggage, a little suitcase. And I was so proud that I fit everything in there. And so I stayed overnight in London just because I didn't want to worry about missing my flight or trains or anything like that. And I actually repacked it that morning and going through security, no issues with my laptop or anything. And all of a sudden, I see my backpack going into the oops line, and then my suitcase following suit. And I said, "Oh shit, what did I forget?" So they thought that I had a water bottle. My water bottle was empty. They couldn't find anything in my backpack, so that was cleared. And then in my suitcase, they were talking to me. They're like, "Well, they flipped the screen around so I could see." They're like, "Right here, there's a little box, and we can't figure out what this box is." And I'm like, "Little box? I don't know what you're talking about." I'm trying to like wrap my head around. Did I buy a souvenir? Did I have a box? And so he's like, "No problem. We'll just open it up." So we opened up my luggage, and lo and behold, it was this. I had brought this with me. So my tarot deck got flagged. And so once we figured out what it was, they just went through the rest of the stuff and everything was clear, but they were joking about needing a tarot reading and asking questions about it. It was a really short exchange, really short conversation, but it just made it for an interesting and fun exchange. And then I had to repack it. And he offered to help me repack it because he's like, "This was really well packed." And I'm like, I know. He's like, "I almost feel bad that I had to open everything up." And I'm like, "Well, you should." Anyway, so this is an interesting pairing that we have here. We have summer heat, things are heating up, and we have wrap up for winter, time to hibernate. We also have this energy of playfulness, time for fun. This is Three of Cups energy that I'm getting here. It's all about community, which feels like it's the antithesis of time to hibernate. If you guys listen to one of the channelings, the sacred channelings that I did a couple of weeks ago before I left, there was an energy there about our message there about how the next couple of months feels really internalized, that we might be socializing, we might be having interactions, we might be meeting people and having fun and things like that, but there's an internal process that is happening, and I feel it's going to continue to happen until the end of the year. And what this internal process is, I feel like, is you're coming closer together with soul family, in that I feel like you're going to go deep with soul family. It doesn't feel like you're going to have many deep conversations or interactions with, like, you might be socializing and going out, but there's something about bringing everything closer to yourself, bringing everything in. And I feel what I was getting was this. We're doing drawings today. What I was getting is this. So it's almost like this is you, like you're going into like a little bubble. And I feel like what's going to happen at the end of the year is that bubble is almost like going to burst. And what's going to happen is you're going to burst forth. Like you're going to be rebirthed into a new version of you. And it's because it's almost like there's this gestation period of more light. Oh, okay. Hold on. They just pointed me to this. This is exactly what it is. This is what I was gonna just create with like the spokes of a sun. This was on my pushpin board. So it's like this. This is where I don't want to draw on it. This is where you are right now. You're in the nucleus here. And I feel like what's going to happen at the end of the year is there's just going to be so much light that's radiating from you. And that's why this internal process is happening right now. It's because there's something that's being not only reborn within you, but that is gestating, that is forming into more light. And it's almost like you have to draw all the energy back into yourself. So you might still be going out and socializing and having fun, and you're meant to, because that raises your vibrations and that changes your frequency. Have fun. Find the joy in life. Find your passion. Find your excitement. But also, things are heating up. And that's what this energy is. Because things are shifting so rapidly, because things are heating up, you're being called to really go within and withdraw a little bit. It's not withdraw as in shutting out the world, it's internalizing. There's a huge internal process that's happening right now as part of your ascension. And once that is born, it's like boom, boom, like you just expand in more light. And that light then has a ripple effect on everything and everyone around you. And I'm also hearing this is what's needed right now. This light, absolutely, at this point in time, is what is needed on this planet. So it's not that you're withdrawing completely, it's not that you're pushing everybody out or avoiding anything. Again, raise your vibration, have fun, find your joy, find your excitement, even if you have to start small. Even if it's, when I was sick, it was finding the little joys in life. Sometimes it was having a TV show to look forward to. Sometimes it was having a page of a book to read because that's all I could do at the time. Start small if you need to, but those small steps will then expand. You're in this internal process right now. You're in the nucleus, and what's going to happen is it's just going to burst forth. So they're bringing that energy back. And I feel like that's especially important for twins. And so I feel like what's happening is you're getting closer and closer, like you're really connecting with your soul family, but you're keeping your circle small. So allow yourself to honor whatever it is that you're called to with that. Don't push yourself. Hey, Ruth. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get a little bit more and see if there's anything else we need to know. I'm also getting drawn to this card. Interestingly enough, this came with a deck, and I don't remember which deck. But it doesn't look like this. These were like extraneous cards, and I liked them, so I just posted them on my wall. But we have it looks like the Ace of Pentacles. Oh yeah, okay, so that one's the Ten of Cups. So this is, I guess, supposed to be a tarot card, and it looks like the Ace of Pentacles, and it's like that kind of energy as well. It's like this abundance bursting forth. So I feel like if you're being called to kind of hibernate, to go within, it's because there's an internalized process that's happening right now as part of your ascension. And I'm just feeling January's energy. Let's see if it goes, no, January. I was going to say, is it February? No, January feels important. There's going to be a lot of energy and more light and just more like rebirth energy stepping forth. Okay, let's get more. Just a little bit more. What do we need to know for the week ahead? What does my collective need to know for the week ahead? What does my collective need to know for the week ahead? So interesting. It's like we have juxtaposing energies here. We have take time out and we have passion. This does feel like it's a little bit on the heels of the message that we just channeled, because I'm getting pointed to the phrase Kundalini rising. And again, there's an internal process that is happening. You're going into a higher level of your ascension journey, a higher level of wisdom, a higher level of understanding, higher level of connection to yourself and to higher power. They're reminding me that with this eclipse energy and moving into the end of October, this eclipse season, the veil is very, very thin. And what they're saying is it's thinner than it's ever been. And so you're having more activations and you might be having more experiences when it comes to your energetic gifts. And everybody experiences those gifts in a number of different ways. So take that as it resonates for you. But I feel like you might be having more activations now as part of this eclipse season, not just when it comes to your relationships, not just when it comes to your sacred union, but within your own ascension. And so with the take time out card, again, it's a very internalized process. So allow yourself to spend time with yourself. Remember, we began this kind of reading by saying that the eclipse energy is not just about your relationship with a counterpart or relationship with another person, but the most important thing is your connection, your relationship to yourself. That's this energy. Because when you connect with yourself, I mean deeply connecting with yourself, as your authentic self, as your core soul of yourself, what you're doing is you are connecting with all aspects of yourself. When you are connecting with yourself, that enables you to really form deep bonds and connect with other people. For a couple of you, this is going to be another message. You're going to like this one. For some of you, part of this experience, I'm going to call it that, is you're going to be experiencing passion with another person. Now, I don't mean that as in sexual passion, although it could be if that's how it comes to be. Excuse me, but I feel like this is going to be passion as far as having that intimate encounter, that intimate exchange. And again, I don't mean sexual, I don't mean physically, but that soul connection, that soul bond, that soul recognition. Um, there's something here about the energetic exchange. You're going to be having that energetic exchange. I don't feel like this passion is going to feel toxic like relationships might have in the past, the hot and cold and the up and down, the confusion and the in and out and all that stuff. Doesn't feel like that. Passion can sometimes be misconstrued as that. This doesn't feel like this. This feels like passion. I'm also hearing the word peace, so it's like a passion. um I don't know how to describe this. It's like a soul passion. It's like a soul excitement. It's not the ego's passion. It's not the ego's excitement. It's the soul's passion. It's the soul's excitement. And that's because of the level that you're at of your ascension journeys, because of the inner work that you've done. So, so take that as it resonates for you. Um, I don't know how else to explain it. It's not 3D that we're talking about here. This is the energetic exchange. This is the yeah, this is the energetic exchange. That's what you're experiencing? Good. Francis, I'm glad you get it. I'm glad I'm glad it resonates for you because I'm having trouble putting into words. It's not the physical nature, it's the energy that's expressed and the energy that is exchanged between two people. So that's awesome. So connect with yourself because that's going to help develop and nurture the connection that you have with others. And that doesn't have to be just a romantic connection. You have connections with everybody around you. If you haven't checked out the blog post that I posted today about my experience in Bath and at the Jane Austen Center, do check it out. I had an amazing encounter with a man named Tom when I was in Bath. Um, I'll just recount it really quickly, but you can read the full story on the blog. I was called. I was having a hard physical day. I was having a little bit of a hard time walking that day because my body's still healing and all that stuff. So my friend had said, "I'm not going to the museum with you, you nerd, but I will pick you up if you want to at the Jane Austen Center." And so I said, "Sure, perfect." But when I got out of the museum, something told me to walk. I wanted to move. I wanted to walk. I was just getting that soul nudge. And so I walked through town. I walked back into town and I was um, just kind of exploring and taking my time and going leisurely. And I passed by a man who was sitting in the alcove, and it looked like he was like a homeless man. I passed by him. He was sitting in the alcove of a shop, and I almost walked by him, but I noticed that there were pieces of paper that were taped to an empty shop window. And something told me just to stop, and I did. And I started reading the poetry, and it was pretty rudimentary by literature standards, but I liked what he had to say. And I think a sign said something about like I have the quote in my blog, but something about like poems about being happy and falling in love and saving the earth. And I'm like, I'm digging this vibe. And I could have walked on. I wanted to walk on, but something told me to stop and stay and say hello. And so I did. I said hello. And he had his head bent over a notebook and he was writing, and he paused and he looked up and we just started talking. And I mentioned that I was a writer too. And I really liked the way that he was sharing his heart and his poetry. And he shared with me that he had been a chef pre COVID and that he lost his job and he ended up homeless, but now he's getting back on his feet. And writing these poems is a way that he just clears his mind and makes sense of it all. And I'm like, I totally get it, because when I was sick, and even before then, writing has always been the way that I make sense of my emotions, because I'm a very emotional person and I don't view that as a weakness anymore, but I have complex emotions. And so writing is always a way in which I understand myself and understand the world around me. And we were just really bonding and vibing about that. And I I ended up asking him to write me a poem. He had a sign like that you could pay for a poem to help him out. And I ended up asking him to write me a poem, and he just asked me just a few things about me. And I think I said, I just had a birthday, I just turned 40. Um I'm on a spiritual pilgrimage and I feel like I'm going through a rebirth. Like it was very like I didn't tell him much about myself. And he ended up, I have it over here. I want to frame it. He ended up writing me a poem. And when he gave it to me 10 minutes later and I read it, like it was like he had such a huge impact on me because it was like he channeled it. Like I know for a fact that he channeled it because it was like a soul to soul communication, a soul to soul exchange, and it meant so much to me. And my friend later said, "Well, maybe him interacting with you meant so much to him," and maybe so, but that simple moment, what seems like such a simple moment, meant so much to me. And I have met so many people along this journey that I know I'm never going to see again. Like I'm not going to see him again, but he had an impact on me in that moment because in that moment I felt seen, and in that moment I knew that I was exactly where I needed to be, exactly where I needed to be. And it just, man, when you open yourself up to those kind of connections, again, not romantic connections, just opening yourself up and talking to people. My friend was teasing me because she was like, we don't talk to people. We don't ask, being British, she's like, we don't ask people's names. And I'm like, well, I do. I'm American. I talk to everybody. And the people that we met and we had conversations with, it was amazing and beautiful. And my blog entries, my journaling will share so many of those stories. That's what I love. That's what lights me up, the connecting. And that's what it's about. That's what life is about. That's what spirituality is about. It's about communion and communicating and connecting with people. There's something so incredibly special about that. And the energy exchange that is had between strangers that aren't really strangers anymore. So whether this is a romantic connection, which it could be, a very intimate connection in that respect, or whether this is a stranger that you just share a moment with, allow yourself to connect with yourself so that you can deeply connect with other people because that connection is what it's about. It is what it is about, not just with your counterpart. Your counterpart shows you the way. Your counterpart is a catalyst to show you the way back home to yourself so that you can connect with so many people around you, with the world around you, with the universe around you, because that is what it's about. Okay. Whew. That was I know that was very impassioned. I'm very passionate about that. Anyway, so that was a little story, I guess that I shared. Anyway, um, so I know we didn't do quite an in-depth reading about what's to come. For some reason, as soon as I finished that story, like the energy was just pulled back. So I don't feel like we're going to be doing any more tonight, but I will have something for you guys this week. And I'm going to be doing those mini readings that I do, the collective readings that I post on Instagram and TikTok. I'm going to be recording those again this week sometime too. So make sure that you guys are staying tuned. I lost everyone after my twin flame woke me up. I'm still in isolation after years. I can understand that. And Mel, the thing that I will say to you is allow yourself to not look at it as a loss if you can, but look at it as kind of like a redirection because you'll be having soul family that really step forward, that really step through. And those old connections will either level up with you and those relationships will mend in a higher level, in a higher way, if you allow them to, if you want them to, or they were meant to be part of your life and maybe part of one part of your life and not the other. But you will have soul family that come through to support you. You will. Um, I have no doubt about that. Like there will be soul family that's coming through for you if you haven't met them already, but just allow yourself to be open to that, be open to who that will, because I feel like it'll come to you in surprising ways. People will start coming to you in surprising ways. I'm also hearing a message, if you need to mourn the relationships that you did feel like you lost, allow yourself to do that. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to go through that process as well. But again, try to shift your perspective a little bit and not view it so much as a loss, but just view it as a shift in energy, that your energy has shifted. And so maybe it's not so much aligned with those who were in your life at that point. Okay. So I hope that makes sense and I hope that helps. You're welcome. Yeah. You guys, I mean, I wanted to journal for myself because um, transferring everything from my physical journal to the blog is helping me to really reflect on everything I experienced, and it is fucking blowing me away. Like I'm still trying to process it, and like I said, when I was watching that video compilation, the enormity of what I experienced and what I saw and felt and did in the past 2 weeks, it's still hitting me. It's still hitting me. I don't think it still feels like it was a dream. Um, I don't think I'm gonna really fully understand it for a while, but yeah, I'm very excited to share with you guys, and not only share with you guys, but dig deeper into. I feel like we're gonna reference what might have been experienced, but not dig deep in as in like we're not going to analyze what I experienced. What I experienced is done. A lot of that was for myself and for my own activations, for my own healing and things like that. But I feel like it's going to activate us to a new level of channeling, to a new level of messages, to a new level, just to a new level. And so that's what I'm excited about. And so that's why I want to say stay tuned to Susan Dawn Ascension Connections, because I do want to do more sacred channelings through there as well. Francis, I am so happy for you. Like, I am so happy for you, lady, that so much is coming through for you. Like, this is a testament to your inner work. You should be really freaking proud of yourself. Soul family, new guy. Like, oh man, I'm so happy for you. I can't wait to hear all the details. You're doing awesome. And yes, Mel, absolutely. Take Francis's advice as well. Trust in that. You had yourself. You had yourself. You did the work. Now the journey is all about you. Yeah, Kate, it is. And I think we have to be really kind to ourselves, and I say that all the time because in this journey, like it makes us feel crazy. Why are we obsessed with this person? Why can't we stop thinking about them? Why are we feeling this energy? I remember I used to smell my person even though he was miles away. I used to hear him physically, hear him even though he was miles away. Like the phenomena that you experience with that person is off the walls, and it makes you feel crazy, and you try to find some sense of normalcy and some sense of understanding, but what's happening is you're going through a massive awakening, and your person catalyzes you to that. And so you have to learn all these things. You have to learn to surrender. You have to learn to trust your intuition. You have to learn to let go. You have to learn to release the definitions, the labels. You have to even learn how to let go of your person. You have to find the connection to yourself. You have to find your journey home, and your person will catalyze you to that. And that's why, for myself, I have no regrets. Everything, even the most painful experiences I've ever had, was with my partner. Even though I experienced all those things and it didn't end in like a fairy tale ending in the way that I would have wanted, I feel so utterly grateful for him, for the journey, because it brings you to a new place within yourself. Um, so I feel like wherever you are on your path, wherever you are on your journey, you just keep going. You just keep going and keep tuning that back to yourself. Because your person, whoever that might be, whether it's the original counterpart or whether it's somebody new that's coming through, whoever it is, it's somebody that you've always felt connected to. You can feel it. That's why I always say it's an energy. You can feel it. You've always felt it deep within yourself. And you always felt like you were meant for big things, or you always felt that you were meant for big love, or you always felt like you were whatever it was. Trust in yourself. Trust in yourself and trust in where your soul is guiding you. your person just kind of launched you on the path to that, to finding yourself, and that's where, you feel so much gratitude. I see, it's so interesting to me being part of this community. It's almost like I have one toe in the twin flame community, and one, like, one foot, like, dipped into it and one foot out, because it's so interesting to me. I've never really connected with the twin flame energy as much as I channel about twin flames and as much as I channel about sacred unions. No, I connect with the twin flame energy, but not with regards to what the community has made it. And it's very interesting to me because I'll see so many divine feminines, um, just filled with anger and upset, and rightfully so. Absolutely rightfully so, for the way that you're treated. Absolutely rightfully so. Allow yourself to be angry. But there also has to be a level of self-awareness for your own healing and for your own journey. You can't project it onto your person. You have to allow yourself to say, okay, you know what? At some point, I have to take responsibility for myself and my own inner transformation, and I have to pull that back to myself, because this is my life. This is my life. And it's like you can't put yourself in a waiting room when it comes to your own life. And so it's just so interesting to me, and I feel so extremely grateful for this community, because all along the way, as I kept kind of moving more and more towards the ascension aspect and the sacred path within the self, you guys were doing the same thing. And I feel extremely grateful for that. Extremely grateful, because, I always say that I'm on this journey too. And you guys being part of my collective have helped me not feel so alone in that respect. It's a crazy journey. It's a really crazy journey. And I feel so incredibly grateful that we're almost like, it's like we're on the other side of all that toxicity and all that havoc and all that chaos. I made a conscious decision about a year ago: no more pain, no more struggle, no more chaos. I only want peace and stability. And my life has begun to unfold in that way. And I think it does come down to conscious decisions in that respect. Um, Aisha, I'm realizing right now that the biggest love story is between me and myself, me and my voice self expression right now. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And that's not to negate other people as part of that. Other people will reflect that, other people will mirror that. My connection with my friends who are not on a spiritual journey has actually been nurtured and gotten better. Even though they're not on the spiritual journey, they don't understand a lick of what I do. They don't care about what I do. It's fine. They don't have to. They're still some of my closest friends because they're just freaking good people. The same thing with, like, relationships, romantic relationships. Those relationships are going to mirror the love that you have for yourself. So amazing, beautiful. Oh, Nixie. You've been such an amazing guide and light for so many of us. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't all for your love and guidance. I really appreciate that. You're going to make me cry, and I'm not going to cry. I really appreciate that. But I want you guys to realize the importance of what it is that you do, because you guys make the conscious decision to transform your lives. You guys make the conscious decisions to change the patterns. You guys make the conscious decisions to do things differently, to heal, to grow. Like, you make the conscious decision. You know, what I do is just guidance, and that guidance you have within yourself too. I just validate and confirm what you already know within yourself. So, like, I want to honor you guys because you are the ones that did the work. And it is fucking hard work. It is the hardest journey. And unless you're on this journey, nobody on the outside will understand it, because it's not work like a job. It's not work like raising a family. It's not something physical. But you are doing the hardest thing that you will ever have to do. And that is facing yourselves. That is facing your shadows. And not just facing your shadows, but welcoming your light. And especially in a world, in a society that wants you to dim your light and wants you to subvert yourself, wants you to suppress yourself, to be able to claim your joy, to be able to claim your happiness, to be able to say that I have a place here, I deserve to be here. That is radical. That is being a rebel. That is being the wild feminine, or masculine. That is the revolution right there then. That's the revolution. And so the fact that you guys made the conscious decision to, well, maybe you didn't make the conscious decision to go on this journey. Maybe this journey was kind of forced upon us, but we stuck with it, right? We stuck with it. And I can honestly say that on this other side of all that struggle and all the grief and all the shadow work that you do, all the healing that you do, man, it clears everything out. It clears everything out so that there is love, so that there is higher connection, so that there is joy, so that there is laughter, so that there is light, because that is who you are. My readings have helped keep you from feeling like you're insane for the last 3 years. Thank you. Thank you. I don't think, I don't think I would have gotten through this journey myself without you guys and this community and this channel. Like, this channel has been my outlet. So I really appreciate you guys and thank you. Yeah. It feels like you're insane because you're going against, in essence, the 3D. You're going against everything that you've been brought up to know, to think by society. You're learning to trust yourself. You're learning to trust your intuition. And that's not something that is readily accepted yet. It will be. It will be, but not yet. All right, you guys, I think we're going to start wrapping up. Again, Patreon members, don't forget that you guys have a community chats available to you now, especially on I think it's only on your mobile devices if you log into your Patreon. I have two chats set up for you guys. There's a general chat, so whichever tier you're in, you can join that. Or there's a Ascension Connections chat for those of you who are in the Ascension Connections tier. So anytime we do live streams, whether it's through the Patreon or here on the channel, feel free to continue the conversation, supporting each other, connecting with each other over in the Patreon community chats. It's an amazing feature. I'm really excited to have that available to you guys, that Patreon rolled out. So don't forget that and keep connecting with each other. That's what we're here for, to build that community. I actually had a download today about church and how the church that Yeshua was trying to create wasn't these monoliths, wasn't these like mega churches, but church as in community, coming together, communion in small groups, in connecting with each other. And that's what it's about. And it's almost like, that's what community is about. It's about the connection. So allow yourselves to open up to community and allow for those soul family to come in and trust your intuition. Always use your discernment and trust your intuition. But, that's how the light expands, by the connections that we have with each other. Okay. We've been doing this for like an hour and I have no idea what I said. So I guess we're back. I guess we're back to channeling. Yay. I will be back doing Sacred Union energy updates, probably one this week. I'll have the collective shorter readings up. I'm going to, like I said in the beginning, I'm going to take my time coming back to everything just because I was so burnt out from the past 6 years of my own journey and this work. I didn't realize that until my trip. Plus, I'm integrating everything from my trip. Plus, I'm still kind of trying to regulate my nervous system from the trip. So there's a lot that's happening right now. So thank you guys for your patience. But I will be back and doing posts a little bit slower than I typically did. In the past, I would just come out with channeling after channeling after channeling after channeling. I don't think I can do that pace right now. So I'm going to be shifting that a little bit, but thank you guys for your continued community and your continued patience and empathy and compassion. And we'll be back. I'll have some stuff for you guys. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to post that blog as soon as I let the dog out, so you guys can catch up, and we'll have some more about that coming up as well. All right. I love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.